Hello everyone, this is the History Spectrum channel. In this video, we will be discussing Elizabeth I. There are some surprising stories about Elizabeth I, so please watch to the end. Complex background on the royal family. The birth of Elizabeth I occurred in the context of a complicated relationship between her father, Henry VIII, and her mother, Anne Boleyn. Her father, Henry VIII, married 6 times, and Elizabeth I's mother, Anne Boleyn, his second wife, was executed for political reasons. When Elizabeth I was born, she was recognized as heir to the throne. But after her mother's execution, she was declared a bastard. Elizabeth I's birth was part of a royal drama of love, betrayal, and power struggles that greatly affected her life and her path to rule. Elizabeth I's path to becoming queen was filled with obstacles and challenges. After losing her claim to the throne, she was considered a heretic during the reign of her sister Mary, and her life was threatened with imprisonment for a time. Elizabeth I was often at the center of religious conflicts, and had to survive in a political climate that oscillated between Catholicism and Protestantism. Her young life is a story of wisdom and courage in order to survive and make her way to the throne. The beginning of the Reformation. Elizabeth I was a major proponent of the Reformation in England. She decided to gain independence from the Catholic Church, and supported the establishment of the Protestant Church. Elizabeth I officially established the Church of England through the Act of Religious Unity of 1559. This beginning of the Reformation was the beginning of England's establishment as a politically independent country with its own religion. Elizabeth I ruled with a skillful balance between Catholicism and Protestantism. While she showed religious tolerance, she sometimes took harsh measures to maintain peace and stability in the country. Elizabeth I was relatively tolerant of Catholics, but she meted out harsh punishments to those involved in rebellions and assassination plots. In this way, she ruled people of different religious backgrounds and succeeded in stabilizing the internal politics of England. The Reformation of Elizabeth I had a profound impact on England. It is said to have reduced religious-based conflicts and promoted religious tolerance. Elizabeth I's religious policy is said to have laid the foundation for religious flexibility in later diplomatic relations between nations. The Reformation of Elizabeth I succeeded in stabilizing England, both religiously and politically, a legacy that continues today. 2 queens in conflict. The conflict between Elizabeth I and Mary Stuart was an important event in the history of England and Scotland. At the root of this conflict were the complexities of religion, the succession to the throne, and personal relationships. Mary, a Catholic, was seen as a threat to the throne of Elizabeth I, a Protestant. The conflict between the 2 queens was intertwined with religious and political factors, and had a profound impact on the history of both countries. Various political intrigues and betrayals took place between Elizabeth I and Mary Stuart. Tensions between the 2 queens were exacerbated by intrigues by the aristocrats and politicians surrounding them. Mary was suspected of being involved in a plot to dethrone Elizabeth I, which further aggravated their relationship. Political intrigue and betrayal further complicated the relationship between the 2 queens, and led to their eventual tragedy. Mary Stuart's life came to a tragic end. She was executed by order of Queen Elizabeth I after years of confinement on suspicion of conspiracy. Mary was executed in 1587, and her death was deeply traumatic for Elizabeth I. Mary Stuart's tragic end is remembered as one of the most shocking events of Elizabeth I's reign. Tensions with Spain. During the reign of Elizabeth I, relations between England and Spain became increasingly strained. This tension was caused by religious rivalries, piracy, and competition between the 2 colonies. In particular, the English pirate Francis Drake's raids on Spanish ships contributed greatly to the deterioration of bilateral relations. The combination of these factors led to an inevitable war between the 2 countries. In 1588, Spain's invincible armada attempted to invade England, but was ultimately defeated. This defeat was due to clever English tactics, bad weather, and miscalculations by the Spanish fleet. The English used fireboats to confuse the Spanish fleet and secure an advantage in the ensuing battles. This historic victory demonstrated England's maritime superiority and boosted the nation's confidence. The defeat of the Invincible Armada had a profound impact on the reign of Elizabeth I and the history of England. The victory strengthened England's international standing and consolidated Elizabeth I's rule. The victory established England as a maritime power and laid the foundation for later imperialist expansion. The defeat of the Invincible Armada was an important milestone, not only in the history of England, but also in the maritime history of the world. The legacy of the Virgin Queen. Elizabeth I made the decision not to marry to protect her political position. She was concerned about the political risks of marriage and the possibility of losing power to her husband. She received numerous marriage proposals, but always put the stability of the country and her own power first. and continued to decline them. Elizabeth I's choice not to marry symbolizes her strong will to rule and her independence. Elizabeth I's personal life was colored by numerous romantic rumors and anecdotes. She was rumored to have had intimate relationships with many men, which sometimes influenced her political decisions. Her relationship with Robert Dudley was particularly well known. He was one of her most trusted advisors. These rumors and anecdotes show the human side of Elizabeth I, and make her legend all the more fascinating. The image of Elizabeth I as the Virgin Queen is deeply rooted in her reign and legacy in history. By remaining unmarried, she combined her image with that of her country and established herself as a powerful symbol. She positioned herself as the Mother of England and succeeded in winning the love and respect of her people. Elizabeth I's image as the Virgin Queen became a symbol of her successful reign and England's prosperity. Surprising stories. Elizabeth I was a highly accomplished linguist. She was multilingual from an early age, and as an adult, was fluent in no less than 5 languages. She spoke English, French, Italian, Spanish, Greek, and Latin fluently, and was able to communicate directly with foreign ambassadors and other royalty in these languages. In particular, she is believed to have been extremely skilled at delivering speeches in Latin. This multilingual ability gave Elizabeth I a great advantage in her diplomacy with other countries. By negotiating directly through language, she was able to strongly advocate her country's position without the need for an interpreter. This ability was very rare for a queen of her time, and the episode is known as a testament to her intelligence and education. How was it? I have explained about Queen Elizabeth I. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like this video. History Spectrum.